What's up, my people? Hello, hello. Bienvenidos to another episode of Hoy en Día TV. I am your host, Yessie Rodriguez. Welcome. Whoo, we are in December. Wow. Can't believe it. Almost the end of the year. But hey, we are here. We are alive, well, and kicking. I'm going to bring to the stage my co-host, Manny Morales. Welcome, Manny. ¿Cómo estás?
Bendiciones, bendiciones, mi gente. ¿Cómo estamos? How's everybody out there doing? It's another Thursday. How are you?
I'm great. I can't complain. I feel good. I will say this. I'm trying to stay warm because this weather is like whooping my tail.
It's been 30 degrees down here, Yessie. Like 30 degrees the other day. I had to put on a sweater. Yes, it was cold.
Florida gets that cold?
Yes, I don't know. And then today it was like in the 80s. So, like, what are you doing?
Really bipolar weather, huh?
Mother Nature, what is the problem? You know what's Floridians?
Bipolar weather.
It's cold right now. You know, we're not used to that anymore. You know, I lived in Philadelphia, grew up in Philadelphia, lived in Virginia where the weather was so cold. I moved to Florida for 5 years. I'm not built for that anymore, Yessie. It's cold.
I don't blame you because I'm not built for that. That's why I moved away from Wisconsin.
Yeah, but you still get snow. You still get snow in North Carolina.
Not really, to be honest with you. If you live more in the western part by the mountains, then yes, you will be affected by snow. Luckily, I'm more inland, so snow is not really a thing here. I mean, we get like a dust here and there, but I think overall, just the temperature drop and then periodic, like the black ice, if there's rain and stuff that's happening, you know, things like that. But with regards to like snow and blizzards and all that, no.
It's been crazy. So how was your week?
You know what? It was good, busy, but I have a really interesting story to share with you, Manny.
Cool.
So, and I forgot to mention this last time. This happened recently for the Thanksgiving holiday. So the day before the Thanksgiving holiday, I go shopping to the Walmart nearby.
Wally World.
And as me and the family are leaving to obviously go back home, we're putting stuff in the car. We hear argument. We hear like, this woman yelling to the top of her lungs, "Leave me alone!" They're yelling, and it's on the road over where we were parked. And so I'm looking, and they were arguing over a parking spot. Now, what happens next is crazy because it ends up being on the news, and y'all can Google this because I witnessed what this happened. So what happens is somehow they end up in the row where I'm parked. And they're still at it. This lady gets out the car. And this guy is over here proceeding to try to take a picture of her license plate. Why? I have no idea. Because, you know, nowadays people can try to find your information through the license plate. So the only logical thing I can think of as a woman is maybe she felt like, you know, like he was going to try to do something to her, which is understandable. But she ends up getting her butcher knife and stabs him twice.
What?
Right. And I saw this, like my eyes witnessed this, and I was traumatized for a little while. And I felt bad for him, but I felt bad for her too, because I'm like, I was watching both of them, and both of them were wrong, to be honest with you. He was trying to antagonize her and try to like push her buttons over a freaking parking spot. She wasn't letting it go either. And it just went too far for a freaking parking spot.
Let's put that on pause for a second. Why does she have a butcher knife in her car?
That's a good question, but that's the good question. But according to was it CBS 17, ABC 11, it does show here. It came out on the news. It says a woman is accused of stabbing a man with now it says a kitchen knife. First it was a butcher knife. So I guess it depends on the news, because some news say it's a butcher knife. This one is saying it's a kitchen knife. Why she has a kitchen knife in her car, I have no idea. During a dispute over a parking spot outside of a Mooresville Walmart. It happened Wednesday around 6:30, so the Wednesday before the holiday. And then they give her name. So she ended up appearing in court. The guy ended up going right into he was in intensive care. He ended up going right into surgery. And she went before a judge this past Monday. And it says here, let's see what it says here. I know she was sentenced.
Already?
He was charged with one count of assault with a deadly weapon inflicting serious injury.
Wow. it just goes to show you how society is now. Like over a parking spot, now you're hospitalized. You're different for the rest of your life because now you have 2 stab wounds, over a parking spot at Walmart of all places.
And you know what? When I looked around, there were plenty of other freaking parking spots. Like,
Right.
seriously, now this lady has to go to jail, and this guy, like you said, is affected with 2 stab wounds over a freaking parking spot. Like,
That's crazy.
seriously.
That's why I don't go places. I go to work and that's it. Like I don't really, I don't know. Like it's just I don't go nowhere. I go to work and that's it. I
That's the
don't.
best place. Like, nowadays, con la gente tan loca que hay acá afuera, mijo, es mejor quedarse en la casa porque over a freaking parking spot.
Over a parking spot. Yeah.
And obviously, she felt threatened enough to want to, like, stab him. Pero quién sabe, quizá ella estaba afectada aquí mentalmente, no se sabe. Because nowadays we don't know what people are dealing with. We don't know their mental health. So it could be a lot. There's a lot of what ifs that we don't know. There's a lot of gray. But what I do know is what I saw. And what I saw is that she was stabbing the man. And that was traumatizing to me.
Saw it?
Yes, I was there. As I was backing up, and then the blood was gushing, and he was like, "Call the police!" And the people were screaming. It was like a movie. And let me stop talking about that because I'm getting.
That's crazy. I wish I would have been there.
You don't know. Trust me, no, you do not know.
Wow.
There's a lot of emotions that go through your body when you witness something like that because you feel bad, but then it's like, what happened? Like there's a cause to every effect, reaction to every action, right? We don't know. But what I do know is, again, it was a fight over a freaking parking spot. The news already confirmed that. Why she had a butcher knife or a kitchen knife, whatever kind of knife she had in her car, only God knows.
Wow. It goes. It's like that's crazy, man.
So to the listeners and viewers, please just, if somebody's trying to fight you for a freaking parking spot, just keep going. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it.
And leave your
it's
kitchen.
Not worth your life. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your money because now this lady has to. Not only is she going to be in jail, her family's obviously affected, right? Now she has to pay whatever court fees. This guy's family, not only is he affected,
right,
he's going to have to deal with whatever hospital bills. There's just so many consequences that come when people don't think.
Wow.
And they're really like, really hot-headed. And I get it. Maybe they've gone through something traumatizing, but the best thing to do, and I'm going to be honest with you, is just walk away. Or if you do feel that threatened, drive off and go somewhere else, or even go inside the store, call 911. There's so many other alternatives that would work better than just sitting there bickering and fighting and fussing over a parking spot.
That is wild.
But yeah. So also, another thing I read the other day. So apparently this mom goes into the store.
Right.
Just a few seconds. And I get it. Parents, most of them, I'm OCD about my kids, so I don't do this. But from what I've heard, is that if there's like a quick, let me run in here real quick and come back out, and you have a kid, the car's running. Okay, you think the kid's safe, but guess what? During the holidays, from what I read, a lot of kids go missing because of that same thought. So this lady goes inside to the gas station. She runs to get something real quick. She's only there supposedly, from what I read, like a minute. She comes back out. Her kid's gone. Well, somebody kidnapped the kid.
Wow.
And so I say that to say to parents, please keep an eye on your kid. Even if it's just a second, take the kid out the car seat or have him or her come with you, regardless of what it is. Make sure you are watching the kid. If there's no other adult that you trust in the car with them, obviously. But if it's just you and your baby, your kid, bring them with you. Have them attached to your hip because nowadays, este mundo está loco. Uno nunca sabe qué va a pasar. And so this poor mom now has lost her child, her daughter, because somebody kidnapped the daughter.
Wow.
So please watch your kids. What were you going to say, Manny?
No, I was saying human trafficking is on the high right now. Like, especially for girls. And when you said it was a girl, I was like, yep. Yeah. It's just crazy, man. Like the world has gotten so mixed. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's a lot different, and there's just so many different mentalities the food that we eat is messing up our, mental, and altering our, our genes and cells in our bodies and our minds, and the steroids that they put, some of it is fake
Right.
meat, you know
Right.
and it's not good for the human body and the human mind. It's just wild. Like Yessie said, take care of your kids, because human trafficking is real. I seen a thing on Netflix, where they were in Mexico, and they weren't human trafficked. They were working for a website, and they were escorts. But um, a couple of them died. A couple of them died because they just wanted to get rid of them, and they were in Mexico. So people don't really care. Yeah, that's crazy. It's on Netflix. Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was wild. Like, it's real. That stuff is real.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at statistics under childwatch.org, and it says an estimated 800,000 children are reported missing each year.
Yeah.
So that's more than 2,000 on average children every day. An estimated 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 10 boys will be sexually victimized before the age of 18.
All right. It's
Wow.
wild. All
That's
right.
mind-boggling.
It's just, there's people out there that either um just antisocial and they can't get dates, but they're sexually active, and this is the only way for them to get pleasure, dominating somebody that's weaker and smaller and less, um their mental capacity is less than theirs, and that's sad. It's really sad.
That's
Um,
very sad. But I'm glad you mentioned that. But with me, and I guess because I think differently, so maybe it's me, me thinking more of a logical, right?
right.
So with that in mind, I get people maybe are socially awkward. They can get, somebody to connect with them, what have you. But there's so many dating apps and dating sites that people, and then nowadays people can go find somebody that'll be willing to, do the Humpty Dump with them. So I mean,
Yeah, that is true, but some of these people, they're either overweight and live like, their lifestyle isn't appealing to people, or they're super skinny, their lifestyle still isn't appealing to people, and
mhm,
they're awkward socially, and they
right,
can't, they don't know how to in, you know interact with people socially, and that also comes from their upbringing, the family life. The father might have not been there. The father or the mother might have been abusive. Some of the people that sexually abuse people were sexually abused themselves. Um, it's just a number of things that people. Yeah, I was just looking at that. Yeah, right. Hey, she brought it back. The Humpty Dance.
hey, that was the first word that came to my mind because I was trying to be like PG, and trying to be like I didn't want to say, do that.
Right. Yeah.
Humpty Dump.
It's crazy how life, the society is, man. It's just, I feel bad for the people that actually get taken, and you hear the stories about the people that get taken, and then they find their way back. It's
And then they're
just,
not the same though.
it's
They're
not.
mentally jacked up because
Yeah.
of whatever trauma they dealt with. And then that's where the hamster wheel effect about the hurt people, and they continue to hurt people. And at what point do people heal?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So that sounds like an opportunity there. Maybe I should come up with some program to help socially awkward individuals.
All
Like,
right.
hey, let's put you back in shape here. Let's help you become socially right and
Right.
not socially awkward. I will say being socially awkward is at the discretion of the person that you're speaking with because everybody speaks and communicates differently. So with that in mind, I mean, there's really no right or wrong way. Maybe you're interacting with the wrong people that just don't understand you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's some people that have been raped that are normal. They've been through something, traumatic in their lives, and I don't want to say they're normal. they live a day-to-day life, a normal, semi-normal life, but they still have that, mental thing where, they might not want to get close to men or women, it's just something, man. Life isn't the
No,
same. Life is definitely not the same.
at all. At all. No. But we're gonna transition gears. We're gonna
Yes.
speak positivity there. I mean, and this is what hoy en día is. This is a lifestyle show. We talk about de todo un poco, any and everything, because this is life. Life is good, life is bad, life is easy, life is hard, life is this, life is that. Life is just life. Sometimes life is just be lifing for people. And that's what me and Manny want to do here with hoy en día, is to remind you that things happen and it's okay, because you're gonna get over whatever it is. Right now it doesn't feel like it, but you will get over it. You will overcome, because you are a fighter. You will overcome.
Exactly.
Manny, so do you want to do the honors and introduce our guest?
Yeah, I can. I think I made you introduce the last couple guests.
Right.
I just be tired, man. Like, it's been a long couple weeks.
You're
Week,
tired?
I mean, I can't compare to you because you have a child, but I'll be tired. But anyway, our guest, I met her a while back. I think it's been maybe 2 years ago. She is a radio host. I can't remember the name or the name of her radio show that she hosts, but she is the editor-in-chief of a magazine called S.W.I.F.T magazine. It's meant for single women. And she is also the proprietor of Focus Forward. She lives in South Carolina, so she's a Southern belle, and she has that Southern accent. I want to introduce Miss Robin Shockley.
Welcome to the stage. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Bienvenidos. Bendiciones. How are you?
Muy bien. Muy bien.
There we go. Look, we got
I know a
everybody.
little bit.
Eso está bueno. Eso está bueno.
I don't know that meant.
That's a little too much. You went a little too far with that one. How was your week, Mrs. Shockley?
Very active and productive. I don't like using the word busy too much, because they say busy, you're just doing, you're not really
Right.
being productive. So I try to say it's been a productive week. Yes.
Okay. So
Very
go ahead,
active.
Yessie, with the $1 million question.
Yes, $1 million question. Well, first, thank you for being on hoy en día. We are glad to have you here. We're looking forward to this interview. Yay. So who is Miss Robin Shockley? Tell us who you are.
All right, let's see. Who am I? Oh my gosh. Well, basically, I'm just a small town girl from Greenville, South Carolina. You said it earlier. I'm a Southern Belle. They call me down in the South Southern Belle Bubbles. And because I'm all full of bubbles, I'm very energetic. I have a lot of energy in me. And, I come from a lot of different, I guess, traumas, things that's happened in my life that I had to make triumphs out of them and overcome. Basically, my pain to my purpose. And so, I am an actress. I am a curvy girl model. I am a magazine creator of S.W.I.F.T magazine, as Manny said. Also a writer of another magazine called The Heat Seekers. I have my brand, which is Focus Forward with Robin. It's a movement. And underneath that, I have several different branches, so to speak. I have my talk show, my podcast. It's on YouTube. I'm connected to 106 Live Radio out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have a outreach, which is called Girls Gifted for God, where we give back to the community. And I have a food blog that I do. It's called Tasteful Tips and Trips. So I write articles and food blogs for magazines and for myself. And then I do interviews through that. So I'm a podcaster also with doing interviews such as red carpets, movie reviews, food reviews. I do it all. So I'm kind of like you, Miss Yessie, and everything that you do. And so I just I'm a PR agent. Also, I promote small businesses. So whether you're a music artist or whether you are a movie producer or an actor or a chef or a book author and you want promotion, I do the behind the scenes at events. I do interviews. I go to your events and I highlight you, showcase you. I do all that. So I take everything that I do and I combine it into one thing and I work off it. And I'm basically a community connector with the Professional Maximizer Awards, and giving back to the community. But basically, I'm all about impacting one generation by the positive seeds we sow today, with being a resource connector, time connector, and financial connector. So I do a little bit of everything. I love it. I'm basically the woman who knows the person who can be of assistance and the
Mm.
person who needs the assistance. And I'm kind of like the bridge maker, the middleman.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
awesome.
me.
That's a lot.
It
That's
is.
Yeah, yeah,
It
wow.
is. I used to not be all this though. This is the major. Oh, I'm a public speaker too. I speak at conferences and such. So the thing is that all this is developed in the last 7 years. 98% of it.
okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So, with you being so productive and having so many aspects of what you do and who you are, how do
Mhm.
you juggle it all, or how do you make time or prioritize, etc.?
Well, I do better with it now. I balance my time very well. I'm a very spiritual woman, so I connect, to the higher one, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
So he helps keeps me balanced. But I have a team. So the things that I do, especially my magazine, I have like over 35 writers around the country. I have a management team that helps me with the magazine, with my graphics, with my editing, I have a personal assistant, which is Miss Alexis Hans. So, and she's not even in my state. So,
Mhm.
I build a team that helps, support this vision that I have. And so with each one, and like with my girls outreach, I have people that partner with me with that too, such as Dr. John out of Colorado would come on in Incorporated. So I don't do it all by myself. But in the beginning, honey, let me tell you, I was doing it all by myself and I had to learn fast. After several years, I'm like, this has got to stop. I'm going
Mhm.
to burn myself out. I'm proud of my age. I'm 53 years old and
Amen.
53 years young, that
Uh-huh.
is.
There you
So
go.
I'm very proud of my age. And because of that, my energy and the life that I live and the purpose
Mhm.
that I have. And so I just love building other people. So I'll bring people in that I see purpose in them. And I'll say, okay, well, you know what? Are you using your gifts? Are you utilizing the potential that's within you? Are you
Mhm.
being purposeful in it? And
Right.
if you're not, let's learn how to be passionate. I'm a life coach too. So I teach about servant leadership. So that's how I balance it. I bring people in to help me. I've learned not to try to do it all by myself.
Right.
I stay in my lane because there's certain things like graphics. I can do a little bit of graphics and I've done that before, but I'm not an expert in it. So I
Mm.
know I had to get somebody to help me with that. I can't do that. So, I firmly believe in staying in your own lane and do what works for you and build people around you that can do the things you can't do.
Right. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
how did
absolutely.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
I just said absolutely. That's all I said.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so how did you get started? Like what was the thing that kind of got the ball rolling? And
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
I've always been business minded, right? I've always
Mhm.
knew that I had a purpose. I always knew that there was something different in me. As a matter of fact, growing up, I was the one who stood out. I was the rebel Robin, so to speak. I felt like I was a misfit at times. Not that anybody made me feel that way, but it's just me within my own insecurities that I had with growing up. I have a wonderful family. I was raised in a great environment, but just life happens and such. And I got married at a very young age. I was
Mhm.
so ready to get out of the house, be in a hurry. And I was married for 28 years. So I got married at 17
Mhm.
and we split at 46. Yeah. So so I was married for a very long time. I'm very much into the loyalty, the love, the commitment, the family life, all that. And but some things happened that was not, in the best interest of my life and my purpose and what God saw fit for my life. I was allowing certain things to happen. I was behaving in certain ways as well. And there was just a lot of bucking. And so, God gave me the clearance to walk out and leave.
Okay.
And I was scared. I was scared to tell anybody. I was scared to tell somebody what was going on in my home, in the private life of my home, because I was all about that image. You know how today is. Everybody's all about social media. You gotta look good, and so I was like posting pictures of a happiness and everything. And here I was breaking on the inside because I couldn't tell anybody. So finally, when I got the courage to walk out and leave, you know, it was my sister actually who I was scared all these years to even tell because, my sister has such, and I don't want to say it's perfect because no marriage is perfect, but my
Mm-hmm.
sister has that ideal family life, the ideal marriage where her husband is amazing. He is wonderful. And so I just was nervous to even tell her anything. But when I did, it's like God gave me the push to, you got to tell somebody what's going on. You can't keep suffering in this way. And when I did, it was my sister who was my greatest support. And if I had done that many years before, a lot of things could have happened differently. So anyway, she helped me get out, helped me get a place, everything, find me somewhere and such. And so, I had to start my life over. I lost everything but my life. I lost a lot of relationships in my immediate family, extended family. New friends I had to develop because when you're married you hang out with married friends, right? When you're a couple. So I didn't have I had some single girlfriends, but the majority of the ones I hung out with were married. So I started over and I started just getting myself in rooms. Basically, I mean, I'm coaching right now, telling you how I made it. I
Right.
started getting myself in rooms. I got out of my comfort. I started speaking into myself. I started putting affirmations all over my apartment, in my car, my bathroom, my kitchen, everywhere. I put Bible verses. I put words up like "You're a champion." I was saying all these different things. You're beautiful. You're secure. You are God's chosen. I was just saying all these things, and as I was walking through my apartment, I would just see these things. You're a winner, different things. And so I started thinking it. And then I began to believe it. And then that's when I started achieving it before I even realized it. And so I'm all about motivation. Y'all wouldn't believe, Manny wouldn't believe this because he's known me a little bit, but I used to be negative. I used to be so
Mhm.
freaking negative.
Right.
I never saw the glass full. I always saw it always empty. I always had something to complain about because I was hurting on the inside.
Mhm.
And that was my way of letting somebody know that, hey, but nobody pulled me to the side and said, hey, what's going on with you? Nobody wanted to, we never dug deep to the roots, right? My mama would talk about it and stuff, but then I was like, I push it away because you don't want to tell your mama.
Right.
Right.
So, but
Right.
my friends never said anything, and so I just started connecting with people, getting in rooms, getting in environments, and sometimes I would just listen. I was like, and I was a leader. I was a leader in the mega church, okay, and I was still dealing with so much pain, and that's what my platform is for women that have been silent, whether you are in just your home or whether you're in church or whether you're in business, to use your voice to come out and get connected to people that can be an influence in your life positively and to help you overcome this negative mindset that you carry. And you said it earlier when y'all were talking about the lady with the butcher knife. And then you were talking about the human trafficking, and I was sitting here behind backstage just shaking my head because I was sitting here thinking, if these people that were dealing with these situations, like Manny said, it could have been something that happened to them, is why they turned into being molesters. Or it could have
Mhm.
been the woman, she could have been dealing with some crazy stuff going on in her home, and
Right.
then and caused her to snap, right, with the knife. But the thing is, my mama was just on my show last week, and we were talking about, she said, if you can stay, you know how merry-go-round that you get on back in the 80s, I don't know if you know that, but
Yeah.
back in the 80s, you had that merry-go-round at the playground, and if you're holding on the end, you're like about to fall off, right? But if you go stand in the center of that merry-go-round, you're still, you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to fall off. You're going to be still, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like that with God. If you get in the center and you get your peace, you don't let nothing else that's around you going to destroy that inner peace. People talk about all the time, well, I need peace. I need to, I'm protecting my peace. But if you get in the center of who you are, to believe in yourself, and whatever it is for your higher power, like I said, mine is Jesus, that gives me that peace.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not letting chaos cause me to react. One of the things my mom always taught me is, Robin, it's not what happens to you, it's how you deal with what happens to you. And I've
Right.
hung on to that. So that's how I got connected. I started doing all these things, and people started seeing me do these little motivational videos, or I write my blog. And when I would do that, they're like, you know what? You would be a perfect person to host the red carpet for my stage play. Or you'd be a perfect person to write this article in the magazine about focusing forward. You never know where Robin's going to be, So I started doing that. And that's how I got connected to people from all over the world, just because I chose to invest my time, my resources, and I would connect with this person, I would connect with that person, and I would remember. I would remember who I connected with. And I said, well, you know what? This person helped me. I'm gonna see if they gonna help, if they could be willing to help somebody else. And I would link them up. So that's how I've evolved and became, the social butterfly, so to speak, that I am, is because I made that connections, and I believed in sowing where I wanted to grow. I wanted to come out of that pit of despair of that insecure woman that was teaching in the mega church and leadership, but she was still so insecure. I knew there was so much more inside of me
Right.
to evolve, and it did. It did, and it's still going. There's still things that I'm 53 years old that I know I have not tapped into the potential of me yet, and it's coming. It's coming.
Amen. Definitely. Look, she motivational spoke right now. Like people were watching, like, yes, girl, that's me right there. That was
So
awesome.
I do have some follow up questions though, because my wheels are spinning with questions
Right.
over here. So when you found yourself in that situation where you had doubts, should I walk away? Should I stay? What have you? At what point, what helped you really come to terms to really identify that it was time to walk away? Because a lot of people, and I say this because men and women alike, there's a challenge that people have was they have doubts like, should I walk away? Should I not walk away? So what really gave you that nudge? I know you said your sister was a support, but obviously you had to do something within you to make that decision to want to walk away.
Exactly.
What got you to that
Exactly.
point?
What got me to that point is that I'm the type of person that I like to follow through. I don't deal with change. I do it now. I've learned to adapt and to adjust because of the environment I'm around and the people that are underneath me. But as far as working with me, but back then when I was there in that marriage, I wanted it to be a picture perfect marriage. I wanted it to be so perfect. So I fought. Even when I knew that God was letting me go, I ran harder to fight for my marriage. I did everything I could. I went shopping and bought gifts. I planned trips. I was like catering. I cooked every single night. I mean, I was trying to do everything. And how I knew that it was really over, when I finally got the clue that it was over, it's like there was no response. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was a bucking. It was like there was no fighting for our marriage, no
Mm-hmm.
communication, no talking. It didn't matter. It didn't care. And I was like begging for canceling and stuff like that. And that didn't happen. And so that's when I knew. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to keep getting rejected on repeat
Mm-hmm.
if I'm putting all the effort and they're not wanting to respond, right? And the thing is, I don't have any animosity towards my ex. He is a good father. He just wasn't a good husband fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get into the negative side of him because God's healed that part of my life and I
Mm-hmm.
have peace. But I will say I am an advocate. for domestic violence. I can say that. And I will stand true to that, forever. Because I know what I went through, and I believe that God has given me compassion more than I've ever had for men and for women, because there are men that go through it too. And it's not just so much the physical, it's the
Mm-hmm.
mental. It's the negativity of words that are spoken, over you. And so, and like I said, I wasn't even perfect. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes myself. So we're both held accountable for the mistakes that we had in that marriage. But I thank God that He resolved it and brought peace with us. And do y'all want to know how I got peace and
Yes,
how I
please.
believe
Like a
God
follow-up
healed?
question.
Okay, let me tell you, and not many people would do this. But and I'm gonna share this, and I've never shared this publicly before. But when I tapped into my Creator God, and I was praying and asking God to change me, reveal to me things that I needed to work on myself to be a better person. That's when He started bringing back to my remembrance of things that happened. And there was one incident where it was bad, and and I won't go into the details, but I felt like I could have had a part in it, right? I could have handled things a little bit differently.
Right.
Nobody deserves to get treated bad. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong about that.
Right.
Nobody deserves that. But I felt like I could have handled it in a different way than the way that I handled it. So I got conviction on that. God convicted me, right? Nobody else did, but God. And so I asked Him, I said, can we go to dinner one night? Okay. And at that time, he was single. He's remarried now to a lovely Hispanic woman. And I said, can we go to dinner? And so we went to dinner to the place that we always went for our anniversary every year. And he was like shocked. Why would you want to take me to dinner? Whatever. And I said, I owe you an apology. I said, do you remember this particular time? And I said, I was angry. I was hurt. It was bad. He mistreated me. I said, but I'm apologizing because I could have handled things a little bit different. And he just looked at me and I said, I ask you to forgive me. And I said, I'm very sorry. And right then and there is when I believe peace was made. Once he understood where my heart was, that I was being sincere, I wasn't being angry, I wasn't bitter at him or anything. That's a few months later is when he started dating and he got married. So I felt like that was a release for him too.
Right.
And so I believe that if people can get to a place to look at themselves instead of pointing the finger, which I never did point the finger, but God was bringing me closer to God. He's bringing me closer to Him. So as I was going closer to God, I was actually going through a transformation of changing who Robin the flesh was.
Right.
And I was turning into who God, Robin the spirit is and who I'm supposed to be. Right. And so that's how it's working for me. I have peace. I'm all about love, peace, and harmony. I'm all about sharing the love of that I have inside of me for other people. I don't care what your past looks like. I don't care what you've done. And I always say this. I mean, I know because we have some bad people that done some bad things in this world, but they've turned their life around. So
Mm-hmm.
if they turn their life around, why not give them another chance to make things right, And if they've hurt you, because I'm not discrediting the pain that people's gone through, because I've had my fair pain and I
Right.
can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not discrediting the pain that people's gone through, but I'm saying that doesn't mean you have to deal with that person, but you can have peace knowing that that person does not control your environment and how
Right.
you
Right.
respond or how you act. And so I am all about just, I love peace. I believe in, we need more love in the world. What's that? There's a song talking
Mhm.
about love, 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 we need more love. So I just believe that, one person can make a line of match and cause a flame to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It can go up or it can go down. It can go either way. And we have the choice to make it go right. And so that's where I am in life, is that I love life. I love helping people. I love doing things in the community. I love serving. I love bringing awareness of things that happen. Like one of my podcast shows, I have two. One is called Focus Forward with Robin. It's a brand show where people come on, they talk about their business, they promote their brand. I do behind the scenes stuff for them, things like that. And then I have one that's all about awareness. Awareness. I don't charge for that one. It's called Voice of Vision and Truth. People come on and they talk about the things that they've been through and how it can be beneficial to help somebody else. Or they may be a nurse, or they may be, working in with the Alzheimer's, or they may be working with people and they how to bring awareness of watch for the signs and things like that. So that's what the Voice of Vision and Truth podcast is about. So those are my two podcasts that I have.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Mhm.
that was awesome. Like your story was amazing. Like a lot of women are out there that have gone through the same thing that you have, and they're still in it because they're too scared, like you were. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I just hope it reaches, that one person that's like on the verge of like, I want to get away. I need something, a change.
I will
And
tell you this, Manny. I will tell you this. I don't want to interrupt, but I have this
are you good?
book, and it's called Catching the Vision to Focus Forward with a New, Bold, and Brave Life. It's literally a devotional. It's got 31 devotions in it, and it's pieces of my life story of
Mhm.
how I chose to overcome obstacles. And I'm being real and raw in it. And I give you challenges. So it's not just something you just read, but I give you work to do, homework
That's
to
awesome.
do. And so that's how men and women get healed, is by getting connected to the resources that are provided, whether it's watching a YouTube show such as this, a TV
All
show,
right.
or whether you read a book or do a devotional. Get yourself connected to something that's going to help you get out of that pit of despair. That way you
Right.
can focus forward. That way you can move
Mhm.
forward. That way you can, make a difference. I'm in the running. Can I throw something out right here? I'm gonna put a little
Yeah.
plug. I'm in
Okay.
the running. I'm in the running for a social media vote. If you go on my page, on my Facebook page, it's Robin Shockley, right?
Mhm.
It's a picture of me in a black cap with sunglasses. I'm doing a modeling pose. But if you go on there, the first photo that you see, if you go and hit the heart and then you comment, I vote for Robin Shockley, that goes towards me because I'm in the top two. They've been doing the voting. It's called the BB Online Awards with Bavarley Bernstein. And it's I think he's out of Florida too, by the way.
Is
But
it?
he does these different things. He's been doing this since 2012, which is amazing. He
Wow.
recognizes people on social media,
Uh-huh.
and he has a team, and they choose people for like most creative, most beautiful, most accomplished. And I'm in the running. And I just feel like honored that I'm in the running for number two. I'm down to the top two. So if you go to my page, you could vote for me. And if you want to make a donation, you could do that too. But I'm just excited just to be acknowledged that somebody sees me fit to be recognized for being, accomplished.
All right.
So yeah.
That's amazing. That's
That is
awesome.
Yeah.
amazing. Yes. The follow-up question I had was regarding peace. A lot of people nowadays, because they were not really fully taught peace, they really don't know how to identify that peace. And I know you mentioned that you identified and you admitted to yourself that you were negative at one point. How
Hmm.
did you come to terms with you being negative and what helped you change that? Because a lot of people are negative, they just don't realize that within themselves. How did you identify that trait within yourself and what did you do to want to come out of it?
I believe it was me. My daddy always says, and I don't cuss like this, but I'm just gonna cuss on this and say this.
Okay.
My dad used to tell me all the time, Johnny Thompson, he would say, well, if you're gonna be around shit, you're gonna stink like shit. And that's what it was. I was around negativity, so I became negative. So when I
Right.
finally broke loose from that environment, that's when it's like I became the Robin Freebird. I had to separate myself. I will tell you, I had a best friend for 30 something years. That first year, I not only lost my husband, my family, friends. I lost my childhood best friend. Okay, I lost somebody that was very close to me, and for like so many years, and it was hard. But the thing is, I didn't realize I was in a toxic environment in that friendship and in that relationship, and it devastated me. It killed me. And I remember I was traveling. It was my very first traveling show where I got a gig to do interviews with some race car drivers. And so I drove 7 hours from where I live, somewhere up in North Carolina. I think Jacksonville or something, Jackson something. And
Yeah.
I remember I'm coming down the highway, and I was listening to Carrie Underwood. I've been listening to The Champion because that was my song, speaking life into me and all this stuff. And the song Cry Pretty came on that she sings. And I was bawling. And I passed one of those grave sites on the side of the road, with the cross and everything, where somebody has had an accident. And I was thinking about my friend when I saw that, because it was just breaking my heart. And God said, "You gotta let it die. You gotta let it die. You're trying to keep alive something that's already been dead." And I was like, and it was hard because it was so much negativity in that friendship. And so I had to just break loose and walk away. I had to like cut it. And I'm not big on blocking people and all that stuff, but I knew for my sanity, I had to cut that loose. And there's been people in my life, I've had to just love from a distance and just cut loose. And that was to gain my peace, because I knew I'm never going to come out of this stinky smell of crap, if I'm staying around it, whether it's in
Right.
my marriage, whether it's in my friendships, whether it's in business relationships, or whether it's in church, whatever it is, because it does happen in the church too. Let's just be real. There's things that go on in the church where there's negativity and such, and people backbite and they gossip. And my pastor John was preaching on this stuff this past Sunday, and it's just amazing how people just push that under the rug, but yet they want to be judgmental on the people that are doing drugs, or they're out sleeping with everybody, or they're out drinking a lot. They want to focus on that, but they don't want to focus on the gossiping and the backbiting and the hurting the person, and and things like that. And so I had to get myself away from things. And I literally, for a couple of years, I even broke away from my family because I wanted to get myself together, and that's hard for somebody because you want to still be in a part. And there's been
Right.
times where I had to break away from business relationships and friendships, because I had to get myself right, myself together, to that way I can be prepared to go back into that relationship if it should ever come about again, you know? So
Wow. Yeah. That's I appreciate you sharing that. Thank you.
Definitely.
Manny, before we transition to last minute words, do you have any follow-up question for Miss Robin?
Oh, it's just amazing. I appreciate you coming and just hearing your story. Like, I've known you
Mhm.
for probably 2 years, 3 years now, and I never knew. Like, you're just so positive. You're a positive person. Like, the energy is just, um, for lack of a better word, infectious. When you're just close to you, it's just like it's a energy. The positive energy is just there. It's awesome.
thank you. I appreciate you guys for, letting me just share,
You're welcome.
bits and pieces of my testimony, and to be on your show, on your platform, because it's amazing how you guys offer the opportunity for people to come on and be
Mhm.
transparent and be real, and so I thank you guys for, allowing me to come on, and I'm going to share it. I'll let people know. I know you said you were booked up all the way till what, next
May,
May,
year?
May,
May,
yeah.
That is
May of 2025.
phenomenal. That
And
is
we still have 20
awesome.
people that are waiting to hear back about when we can squeeze them in. So after those 20 people get on, then it'll be like over the
I
summer.
know I was on the waiting list too when Manny reached out to me,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, okay, in 2 weeks or whatever. He's like, oh no, it's gonna be months.
Yeah. But I will say this. Robin, I started this podcast back in 2018, and shout out to the co-host I had at that point. He was great, and we had Oyandia for 2 years, and everything was good. But then COVID hit, womp womp, right? And so everything got disshuffled, and so I put Oyandia for a pause. But between my honey and then God nudging me, both of them were like, "What are you doing with Oyandia? What are we doing with Oyandia? Come on, you got to bring it on. You got to react." And I was like, "Okay, fine. Yes, you're right." And so I prayed because I was like, Oyandia is just, I love this platform because the goal is to motivate, enlighten, educate, inspire, and entertain the viewer with each episode, each story. And that's what we do. And so I prayed, I was like, God, I need some amazing co-hosts. And at that point, God put Manny in my spirit. And he also put the prior co-host that we had, Tim. And so I reached out to both of them. They were both on board, and we were doing amazing. And we still are doing amazing. God has been elevating the platform, and we're just growing, and more people are bringing, knowing about who Oyandia is and what Oyandia is with different platforms. And so I give this all to God, because definitely without God, we would not be here. And that is why we have stories like you, people like you, to come on board and share, because that is what Oyandia is. We want to motivate people to change for the better when life is lifing. A lot of people nowadays, and even when I was growing up, they tend to stay in that negativity. They swim in it. They just like it. I don't like being negative. I want to be positive. Help me get out. And so that's what Oyandia is to help those who want to get out, because that is the first step. You want to have to change. You have to want that change for the better. Nobody can force you but you. And like Robin shared, she realized within herself, after praying, after doing her meditation, after doing what she had to do to connect with God, with Jesus, to say, hey, how can I be a better person? And that is the question that challenged you today, the viewer, the listeners. How can you challenge yourself to be a bigger, better person? Because we all have opportunities to grow and change. I'm not perfect. Manny's not perfect. Robin isn't perfect. You ain't perfect. We ain't perfect. And it's okay. We're here.
That's right.
I mean, it's all good, right?
That's
so,
right.
okay. That's my spiel.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? I've got an event that's going to be coming up where I'll be speaking in Atlanta, Georgia. For any of your viewers are in Atlanta, Georgia, it's actually going to be on the outskirts of, in Austell, Georgia, on the outskirts of Atlanta. It's called God is in Everything Conference. It's 11th year. I'm one of the panelist speakers. And I'm excited about it, with the team there. And so if you're in the Atlanta area, I'd love for you to, sign up. It's going to be January the 25th. There's amazing people that are going to be there speaking, but I am one of the panelists. So you'll get to hear a little bit more about my story, about purpose, and about relationships and all that.
That's awesome.
Yes, it's beautiful. I love it.
Is it on your page? Can people see what the information?
Yes, it is. It's not at the top of the page, but it is on my page. But I'll send it to you, Manny, too. But I'll reshare at least 3 times a week. I share it.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
and
hey,
you can go to my Focus Forward with Robin Facebook page. And it's on there, and you'll be able to see it there too.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Absolutely. So we're going to transition into our last minute words, because this amazing show is, we had to come to an end for this time, because we're going to be back next week. But for this time, it's time to say goodbye for a little bit. So last minute words. Manny, would you like to lead us?
Sure. As I usually say, don't let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. Just as it said, don't let fear overcome the things that you want to do and the purpose in your life. As Robin, she had the fear, and she let it hold her in a relationship that was toxic for her. But at the end of the day, she was strong enough to get out of it. And everybody, we're all the same. We're not perfect, but the consistency in your life, and you just have to know your worth, and be able to put yourself at a higher standard than what other people may see you, because you're a king, you're a queen. So you should always consider yourself as such, and just focus on you and your life and what makes you happy. As you see Robin, she, became happy, Like I can't see. I still can't understand the negativity. I don't know. It's she's just always been positive. So I can't see Robin being negative. But I mean, we all go through it. Like I've been negative in my life. Yes, he has been negative in her life. Even though she's been doing acting since she was 11. There's always trials and tribulations that she had to go through. And just having that negative mindset sets people back. So don't let that fear overcome. So you can find me on social media, author Manny Morales, on Facebook and IG. DM me if you want a copy of my book. I'll autograph it. Model page is Manny Morales 1824. Love is Our Magic, the series is definitely coming soon, sometime next year. So you'll be seeing me.
Manny, how about the products that you make?
Oh yeah, so I make personalized tumblers, personalized T-shirts, hoodies. Just DM me, Papi Chulo Creations on Facebook and IG. Decent prices. I do graphics as well. So if you give me an idea, I'll put it together. We'll collaborate and make magic happen. Whatever I want to see your vision come true, to fruition. So hit me up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Manny. Robin, it is your turn. Tell us last minute words and how people can find you.
Okay. Well, what I always love to tell people, if you can tap into your potential, you'll discover what your purpose is. If you discover what your purpose is, you'll be able to run passionately with it. So I would encourage people to shift their thinking. Start thinking on the positive side of things with life instead of the negative. Question yourself, hold yourself accountable. So then you can choose to believe. You can start believing these things of positivity, start tapping into the potential of that. And then before you know it, you'll start achieving it. You'll start getting yourself connected to the right people, listening to the right music, start speaking affirmations over yourself. It's so important that you check your surroundings, what goes into your ear gate, your eye gate, your mouth gate, everything. It's so important. So I want to always encourage people to think, believe, achieve. It's the Focus Forward with Robin way. How you can find me is all over social media. You can just Google Robin Shockley. I will come up. My website is robinshockley.com. I have, my book, like I said, if you'd like to get it, it's on Amazon, Catching the Vision to Focus Forward. And then also my magazines. We have working on the 8th edition. Manny is one of the contributing writers for the magazine. He writes for us. And so it's stories. He was saying, he's a man. It's geared towards the single woman. So that's in focus today. But we have men writers. We have married couple writers. And we have single women and married women who write. But it's to speak positivity, to give that single woman hope and focus today. So you can get purchases of the magazine on Amazon, or you can contact me and I can link you up with that, how to pay for it and everything. So basically, I'm just excited to be a part of this. I thank you so much for having me on your show, guys. It's been an amazing time letting me share my platform with your platform. And that's how it's always working. It's always about collaboration. Like I said, impacting one generation to another by the positive seeds we sow today. What seeds are we sowing into people today? Are we sowing good seeds? Are we sowing those bad seeds that turns into nothing but weeds? We don't want to be weeds. We want to be fruitful and we want to multiply.
Exactly.
And that's what I'll leave with you today.
Awesome. That is amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing.
That is
what do
amazing.
I do yesterday? What you got?
Yes. Well, thank you to the viewers and listeners for tuning in today. We appreciate it. Thank you to our special guest. Amazing story. Wow. We learned a lot. Manny, shout out to you for being a dope co-host.
Thank you.
And also, shout out to the sponsors. We have Collective Wear, author Manny Morales, Divine Beauty and Accessories. And we're going to hear quickly from our sponsors. One moment.
Sponsored by Collective Wear.
Sponsored by author Manny Morales. Sponsored by Divine Beauty and Accessories. Watch Oyandia TV Thursday, 7:30 p.m. And for those who want to be a sponsor, just reach out to us. Email is at the bottom, oyandiatv@gmail.com. We welcome you. We have different sponsor packages available. Also, if you have a story to share, a business you want to promote, what have you, if you want to just come on and chop it up with me and Manny, you are welcome to come. Just reach out to me or Manny or email oyandiatv@gmail.com. Subject line, put I want to be on the show. And we'll get you on. I mean, it might be a little long. I will say this. The wait might be a little long, but it's worth it. As you can see, I mean, not to toot our own horn, but this show is pretty dope, because God's touched it. Don't touch and ordained by God. Whew, thank you. But nevertheless, I will say this, last minute words. Also, I will say for those who want to follow me, you can find me on social media. Go on my website, yessierodriguez.com. You can also Google me, Yessie Rodriguez. If you want to know more about me, I am Googleable. So search me up. And also, food for thought here. When people say the sky's the limit, have you ever heard about the Kármán line? And I know I've said this in other shows, but I'm just going to keep harping on it because this is my passion, right? So the Kármán line is a boundary 62 miles above mean sea level that borders Earth's atmosphere and the beginning of space, right? And so keyword here, boundary. So when people say the sky is the limit, you're setting yourself, technically, you're setting yourself a boundary because there is a Kármán line. And so the quote that I created many years ago, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies, they're endless. Thank you for tuning into Oyandia TV. Until next time.